Hello everyone, welcome to Movie Talk with Nate, Champ, and Bandit. Yay! Oh, you guys are scared, huh? It's okay. Yeah, they're not lap kittens, that's for sure. They love to climb and all that stuff. And there they go. Okay, well maybe they'll come back later the way Chub Chub did. Alright, so anyways, this is a video I've been wanting to make for a while. A while ago, there's an article I read with Brad Bird, and he was talking about like original films and Edge of Tomorrow, and I'll get more into detail in just a minute, but when I was reading the article, I kind of realized something, and that is Hollywood really loves to blame us for their mistakes. When I first started getting into film, which was like late 90s, early 2000s, that's like when I was like really like getting into it, one of the biggest qualms or quarrels or whatever you want to call it between fans and Hollywood was when it came to adaptations, because Hollywood has always loved doing adaptations. And at this time, again, like late 90s, early 2000s, most adaptations were not very well received. And part of that is because most of them really just weren't good movies. Like forgetting about the source material altogether, just looking at them as movies, most of them just were not very good. And then a lot of them didn't do well because they didn't follow the source material, which of course would make us, the fans, ask, well, why don't you just follow the source material? And Hollywood always had all of these like bull crap excuses like, oh, well, you just don't understand how films work. You can't, not everything translates well. And sure, maybe not everything does, but most of it does. Film is a pretty durable medium. And they'd say things like, oh, well, you can't just appeal to the fans of the source material. These are movies. You have to reach a broader audience and all this other bull crap. And, basically it was our fault for not understanding that. And it was our fault for, stifling their creativity. And here's the thing that they failed to realize is that it wasn't that we didn't want, creative ideas. It's just that most people don't like to be lied to. So let me give you two hypothetical situations. Let's just say you go to the store and there's some new cookie on the shelf, right? So you say, hey, I'm going to give it a shot. You take it home, you bite into it, it tastes like crap. Now, of course, you're going to be disappointed, but most people probably aren't going to be angry. But imagine scenario number two. You're in the mood for Oreos. So you go to the store and you buy the package that says Oreos. You take it home, you open it up, there's not Oreos in there. There's some other cookie that tastes like crap. Now you're going to be pissed because not only are you stuck with a cookie that tastes like crap, but you were lied to. The package said Oreos, but you did not get Oreos. Then imagine if you complained about this and the creators of said cookie told you that you were wrong. They're like, what are you talking about? Those are Oreos. Now you're going to be furious because not only are you stuck with a cookie that tastes like crap, not only were you lied to, but now they're calling you stupid for not believing their lie. This is what causes so much fan outrage. It's not that we're not getting exactly what we want or that things aren't exactly the way we want them to be. It's because we're being lied to and we're being called stupid for not believing the lie. And we tried to explain this to Hollywood for years, but for some reason, for so many years, they really had it in their heads that you just can't listen to fans. Which is so strange because every other business in the world listens to their customers. That's what fans are, they're customers. Restaurants, listen to customers. Retail stores, listen to customers. Every other business in the world listens to customers. That's usually their main motto is, we listen to the customers. But for some reason, Hollywood never got that memo. And for years and years, they would always make that argument that you can't listen to the fans. But then Marvel Studios comes along, and they actually listen to the fans. I mean, they don't make the films exactly like the comics, but they stay true to the heart of the characters. And that's what's most important to people. And that is why they have enjoyed so much success. So that whole argument of, oh, you can't listen to the fans, we always knew it wasn't true. But now it has been proven beyond any doubt whatsoever that that's not true. And that's why even though the DC movies haven't been doing so well, they can't blame the fans anymore. But now they have a new complaint. Because even though many people, including myself, have really enjoyed the fact that we're actually getting good adaptations, a lot of us have been kind of saying, yeah, but there's not really any original stuff going on. It feels like everything is an adaptation nowadays, or a remake, or a sequel, or whatever. And once again, Hollywood puts the blame on us. And that's really the thing, that's the article that Brad Bird was talking about. He was talking about how, these fans say they want original films, but then when Hollywood makes original films, they don't go see it. And ironically enough, the example that he gave was Edge of Tomorrow. He's like, yeah, this was such a great original film, and nobody really went to go see it. However, Edge of Tomorrow is not an original film. It's actually based off a story called All You Need Is Kill, which is a lot better of a title, by the way. So the fact that he didn't know that kind of proves his ignorance a little bit, but I'll go even a bit further. Because this idea that people just aren't willing to give original ideas a chance is just completely ridiculous. And again, all of these Hollywood people will say things like, oh, well, there's all these great films that are coming out, like, Sorry to Bother You, or Tully, or The Good Guys. These were all great films, and nobody went to go see them. But if you go around and ask people, well, why didn't you see these movies? I guarantee you the answer you're going to hear more than any other answer is because I didn't know it existed. Because I'm a film guy, and a lot of these films that they're talking about, I didn't know they existed. I had never heard of these films until I heard them complain that nobody went to go see them. And that's what the real problem is the fact that no matter how good a film is, people cannot go see it if they don't know it exists. It is literally impossible. And, that's what the real issue is. It's not the fact that people aren't willing to give new ideas a shot. It's the fact that if it isn't an adaptation or it isn't a remake, Hollywood doesn't want to put any money into it. Now, does Marvel have a certain advantage because they do have this really great name recognition? Of course they do. But to be perfectly fair, they've earned that. They've earned that name recognition. Like, it's not like people just went nuts over these films right out of the gate. They earned their reputation, and they've maintained their reputation, which is also very important. They not only earned it, but they maintained it, which is very difficult to do. But even then, another big part of the reason why they have this overwhelming success is because they also spend a lot of money and time on these films. Usually the production value is at least $100 million or more. They usually spend, anywhere close to $50 million on advertising. So people know that these films are coming out. Like, you can't spend $5 million on a film with $2 million worth of advertising and expect the same results. It's just stupid. Another problem that they have is a lot of these films have a very limited release. If you look at a film like Upgrade, which I really, really wanted to see. It was actually my most anticipated film of this year. I wanted to see it more than Avengers Infinity War. But unfortunately, it had such a limited release that the closest theater to me was over 100 miles away. I would have had to have driven over 100 miles to watch this film, which I wasn't going to do. And to be perfectly fair, I wouldn't have done that for Avengers Infinity War either. Like, if it was just for some reason getting a super limited release and I had to drive 100 miles, I would have been like, you know what, I'm going to wait for it to come out on video. And even then, since I know Upgrade has been released, I can't find it on video. I went to the store a couple times now and looked for it. For some reason, it's not there. So even the DVD is, and Blu-ray is getting a very limited release for some reason. And then they wonder why people aren't watching it. Well, I'm trying. And the biggest proof of this is the fact that there are a few exceptions. If you look at a film like A Quiet Place, where they spent, about $17 million on the production value, which means they probably spent about $8 or $9 million advertising. I know the two main actors is Emily Blunt, and I believe his name's Jason something. I don't know. I can't remember his name. I'll go and put it in here. But I know the two of them really advertised the crap out of this film. They went on lots of tours and promoting it and everything like that. And people knew that this film existed. And it made over $300 million, which may not sound as impressive as Avengers Infinity War making over, $2 billion. But if you actually look at money spent in comparison to money earned, it was technically better because, again, like I said, it was around 17 million, which means they probably spent about 8 or 9 on advertising, which puts it at 20 something million dollars. Even if you round it up to 30 just to be safe, $30 million in comparison to $300 million, that's 10 times what was put into it. So it made a profit margin of 10 times. And then if you look at an Avengers Infinity War, that was probably at least 200 million, probably closer to 250 million to make, which means they probably spent at least 50 million on advertising. So that puts it around $300 million Oh wait, that's just Robert Downey Jr.'s paycheck. I'm just kidding. At least to my knowledge, he's never made that much. But the man is ridiculously paid. Even though I like him, he is ridiculously paid. But anyway, so you're probably looking about like $300 million for Infinity War. And it made over $2 billion. So $2 billion divided by $300 million, that's 6 and some change. Even if you rounded it up to 7, because again, it made over $2 billion. So, 7 times the profit margin, which is still great. But again, technically A Quiet Place made more because it made 10 times. So even though 300 million doesn't sound as impressive as, 2 billion, technically it was a more profitable film. And that's something they're not taking into consideration when they're making these complaints, is that you don't always have to have those big blockbuster numbers in order to have a really profitable film. But once again, my main point is the few times where they actually do spend good money on original films, like I said, like A Quiet Place, or like Get Out, or if you look at Christopher Nolan, I mean, yes, he did do the Batman adaptations, but a lot of his films are his own ideas, like Interstellar or Inception. These were original ideas that did very well. If you look at Pixar, yeah, sure, they make sequels sometimes, but a lot of their films, again, like Coco and Inside Out, these are original ideas that did extremely well. And that's one of the things people love about Pixar, is the fact that they do their own ideas. So there's no question that people are willing to give new ideas a shot. They just have to know that it exists. And for anyone who's doubting this, like any Hollywood person out there who's doubting this, or anyone just in general, then just find me one film that has come out in, we'll say, the past 10 years that was an original idea, that was actually, a well put together film. It actually had a decent budget, good acting, good special effects. Like, it was all around a well put together film. It was well advertised, and it showed up on a good number of screens and didn't make any money. Name one film that's done that. I did a lot of research. I literally could not find a single film that matches those 3 things that did not do well. If you match those 3 things, you are a success. At least everything I've found. So again, if you've got an exception out there, I'd love to hear it. All right, come here, you little kitties. We got to say goodbye to everybody. Oh, come here, Bandit. Say bye, Bandit. She's called Bandit because she stole our hearts right away. Mwah. Okay, oops, ow. Where's Champ? Where did you go, Champ? There you are. Oh. Mwah. Say bye, Champ. Oh, you're such a good boy. All right, and that's it for the video. Hollywood, please stop blaming us for your problems. Just get your crap together, man. All right.